Hello, everyone. Once again, this is Dare to Speak. I've talked about this before, but I erased it earlier. I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 months ago or something. I don't remember. But it was a personal story that I shared concerning ghost activity. And even though this is something that I liked a lot, anything that has to do with haunted houses or people being haunted or bothered by evil spirits or and stuff like that, and having to use whatever technique to fight them off, and also witchcraft. Out of all the phenomenons that I like to talk about, that's my most favorite. There's a story that happened to me back when I was 16 years old. I went to go visit family over at San Antonio, Texas, and I met, uh, of course, my grandmother. At the time, before I even knew what exactly what she did to us during that year, which I'm not going to talk about. But there was a lot of really fucked up things that happened. But aside from that, I met my uncles, and then me and my family that went over there. We went to seek out a legend. It was, maybe some of you know this legend, especially those that are Hispanics. You would probably know about this. It's is the legend of the train tracks of those in which a bunch of kids in a school bus got hit by a train, and they all died. And legend has it that their spirit still haunts that area, and there's like a slight uphill and towards the tracks. And if you turn your car off and have it on drive, or or you set it somehow, and then you can just feel the car being pushed towards the train tracks all the way to the other side. It's the ghost of those little kids pushing the car, and you could go over to the other side. And even though the train tracks is no one is from what I understand is not being used anymore, so you don't have to worry about getting hit by a train. So we seeked out the legend because we heard about it a bunch of times, and here I am all nervous. It was during the daytime, and I was with my dad and one of my brothers in the back seat, and then we did the procedure. We did what we're supposed to do, and then we actually felt the car being pushed up over the train tracks to the other side. And everybody else in their cars did the same thing just to check out the phenomenon. It's actually real. It does work. So for those of you who I forgot what area or the name of the area or whatever, I don't know. But anybody who's ever been to San Antonio, Texas, and never seeked out that legend, because I heard in the nighttime is even scarier, or more exciting or whatever, because they say if you put baby powder, and especially if you go there at night, and you put baby powder in the back of the car, and then you do it, and then of course it will work. You get pushed over to the other side, and then if you take your flashlight and you look in the back of the car, you'll see little handprints of those ghostly kids. And according to my older brother, he said he went there at night. Not that year, but years ago when he was a little younger. He went over there, and they did that thing, and then it actually worked. You saw little handprints. But according to him, but he was a kid, so I don't know if his memory of it is that good or whatever. But it is real. There is a lot of truth to that. There is. I never really, we never really tried the baby powder thing in the back when I went there. But it is real, the legend of those little kids that pushes your car over the train tracks safely to the other side. And according to popular rumor, they do that in order to prevent the person who's getting, who goes towards the train tracks, goes on the train tracks and gets stuck, to avoid getting hit by the train. And that's what the legend is. They don't want anybody to get hit by the train, so they actually end up pushing it. It's weird. It's kind of exciting, even though I went in the daytime. I never went at night, but it is pretty much like, wow. I wanted to explore something more scary, and there is a legend in which, believe it or not, I had family that said that is actually real, but I never got the chance to actually see it for myself. We never seeked it out because, for one thing, it's extremely dangerous. And it says that there's a particular area in San Antonio, Texas. There's a particular area, I don't know from what part or whatever. There's a regional area that if you go there, it's mostly like, kind of like either wilderness or I don't know what it is, but it's very secluded. It's like a rural area, and legend has it there's actually elves and goblins, or gnomes, little gnomes, and I heard from certain relatives that actually seen gnomes, and my mom talked about my dad when during the time when my older brother went to go to visit them, when he did that phenomenon with those ghostly kids. Something about my dad was driving through the area, and then he stopped for some reason, and I forgot what the reason why he stopped the car, but my mom got scared and she said, let's go. And my dad was like, why? What's going on? What's wrong? And she didn't want to say anything in front of my older brother because she didn't want to scare him. And she said in Spanish, she overheard him say, the little man. And my dad looked out the window and saw on the ground, and he didn't really say much of anything. So he just kept on going. He started the car and just started driving away real fast because he felt some kind of vibe or whatever the case. And then when I heard about this, when my mom was talking about it, and then, what do you mean by little man? What are you talking about? She said that she described it, like it kind of looked like one of those Jack in the Box type of those little creatures that pop out in the Jack in the Box with a hat and like a clown suit kind of thing. And it looks like something out of folklore. The colors they were wearing and whatever kind of thing. And it was about maybe 12 inches to 18 inches tall. It was real small. And my dad said he saw it. He was laying on the ground, whether it was whatever. He said it looked like a toy. It looked like some kind of like a novelty toy. But he said he felt something weird and some kind of weird vibe from it. And it freaked him out. And my mom was panicking, and she didn't want and my older brother wanted to look out the window to see what it was. Says, what little man? Oh, so we just I pretty much figured it out that it was a gnome. And whether, I don't know because anybody could have just mistaken it for a toy. But the thing about it is, it was the vibe that they were getting from it. It didn't move. It didn't do anything. But it looked like it was just the way it was positioned and stuff like that. It was maybe about a good 4-5 feet or whatever. It was the vibe. It was that ominous, scary, I better get the fuck out of here kind of vibe. something that freaks you out like that, and you start to panic. It's something that goes through you. Maybe a lot of you can actually relate to this, but when you see a gnome or an elf or something like that, because there's a lot of it in Mexico. There's a legend, there's legends of what they call it in Spanish, duende, which means gnome or goblin or hobgoblin or whatever you want to call it. Duende is the name for it, and there's a lot of videos on it too, where people have come across it, and some of them are playing like games like hacky sack or whatever, and then they see a gnome come by, or someone said they saw a gnome dancing around or coming towards them, and they would freak out and start screaming, and they would run away. There was a lot of shit like that. It was very scary. It's the vibe that you get from these creatures that goes right through you. And I'm pretty sure this, if anybody who ever encountered these kind of creatures, whoever actually really encountered it, or knows somebody who has encountered it, would say the same thing. It's that creepy fucking vibe that goes right through you. And so that's all I know about it. But as far as coming, actually seeing one face to face, that I experienced a bunch of times, usually in sleep paralysis. And I actually fought some of these things. I fought them off, but these yeah, it's I'm not gonna get into that part, but it's the thing about it is these legends are pretty much creepy. So those are the two things that I know about when over in San Antonio, Texas, when we went to go visit. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Questions or comments, you know what to do. And to all of you, take care.